Ayan. Yun, meron na tayong naisip kanina. Kamusta kayo dyan? Tapos na yung week natin. Wala pa rin yung DND at DFA. Hindi ko alam talaga anong nangyayari. Bakit ang tagal? Mukhang si Ambassador Babe Romualdez will be kept in Washington, D.C. because he's doing a very good job there. And I'm not sure if the Chinese would be too happy to have someone like him. I don't know. But let's see anong mangyayari sa DND, DFA. Talagang kanina pa ako nagpe-prepare dyan, wala pa rin eh. But kanina guys, naisip natin, bago natin pag-usapan, there are a number of things I want to talk about. First of all, I hope si Sir Robin Padilla, no, incoming senator, he's feeling better. Nakita natin sa news kahapon, no, na-update tayo. I think yung mommy ko nag-update sa akin. Yung mommy ko mas updated sa akin yan eh. Na mukhang meron siyang tumaas ang blood pressure niya. Nasa Espanya pala siya eh. Ayan, no, nagbabakasyon. At mukhang he's feeling better. Yan, Senator Padilla, I hope you're feeling better, sir. I know you're feeling a lot of pressure. Naintindihan ko yan. Mga kameta, mga kameta, let's be nice, let's be supportive of whoever becomes our next leader if tamang gagawin nila. At mukhang talaga na pressure si incoming Senator Robin Padilla. I hope he's feeling better and I hope he's preparing. Kasi yung kanyang trabaho will be very, very important nga. Inamin naman ni Senator Zubiri, incoming Senate President, na usually pumupunta ito sa mga legal experts and mga lawyers, itong Constitutional Amendments Committee. But this time, binigay nila kay Robin Padilla at magkakaroon na lang ng payo. So, wag siya mag-worry masyado. So, medyo siguro pressured si incoming Senator Padilla. Ayan, take care of yourself, sir. Okay. Tignan natin mamaya, pagbalik mo, baka mag-interview tayo, pag-usapan natin ang gusto mong mangyari sa Senado. Ayan, kamusta kayo dyan, guys? So, kanina naisip ko, maybe we'll mix things up a little bit, na hindi yung tipong I'll just come in and give my ideas about the latest developments, etc. Tignan din natin yung mga gusto niyo mangyari. Ito na naman tayo. One second, inaayos ko itong setup natin, guys. Yan. Okay. Ay, inayos ko na eh. Kasi yan na naman yung settings ng settings ng Meta. Yan. Okay. So, kanina naisip ko, why not let's do something different once in a while? Or at least, baka yan ang mas gagawin natin para maging more, tawag dyan, more interactive. Alright? So, sabi ko ang gagawin natin dyan, guys, is, ask me a question. So, eto nag-post tayo kanina, ask me a question. So, bago tayo pupunta doon sa talking points natin. So, magkakaroon tayong talking points, pero meron din tayong audience questions and i-respond din natin yan. So, nagtanong tayo. Ito na, nagsimula na tayo ng new sessions natin. Ask me a question. So, sabi ko ano yung mga issues at yung mga topics na gusto niyong pag-usapan. Obviously, there are infinite topics we can discuss, di ba? As infinite as the stars. Yung galaxy pa lang natin, good luck na sa atin. But, at the same time, siguro naman may mga issues na pwede natin pag-usapan na sa tingin nyo hindi masyado na pag-usapan or mas kailangan ng pag-usapan, no? So, sabi ko, ask me a question, kindly post what issues or topics you want to discuss for our meta later. And sabi ko, no personal questions, and be nice. Alright, be nice. Ayan, mukhang nakinig naman. So, wala pa yatang 10 minutes. 100 questions na pumasok at malapit na tayo sa 400 questions. So, hindi naman ako mag-ambisyon na maisagot natin lahat. So, don't worry. Everything you throw out there, we'll try to go through the questions and answer some of them. But, hopefully, tuloy-tuloy itong process natin. So, marami tayong questions dito. Meron tayo about federalism, about China, about Liberal Party. May mga more profound questions on political dynasties and desire of people for political change. Nako, ang dami po. May tanong about lone opposition, Riza Hontiveros. So I think that's something we should definitely discuss. So it's a, oh my goodness, there's so many questions here. Yung issue din ng ICC, BBM, anong gagawin niya sa ICC and President Duterte. So don't worry, we're still experimenting ano yung mga best format dito, anong best oras, anong mga gusto nyo mangyari dito sa ating mga meta. Para naman it's something that all of us can learn from. Alright? Yun lang. So, we're still working on it and at the same time, trying to figure out bakit naging ganyan itong meta natin. Hindi lumalabas. Parang intermittent lumalabas yung mga comments nyo dito. Wait lang buksan ko na lang yung isa. So, I brought another phone na backup lang para lang makikita ko yung mga, yung mga kuda. Yung mga kuda nyo. Wait lang. Oo. Wait lang Siyempre, gusto naman natin guys, interactive tayo, hindi tayo ano lang dito. Nagmamarites na mag-isa. Ayan. Wait lang. Ayan. Ayan, nakikita ko na yung mga walang ya. Sinasabotaya yata tayo nitong Ayan. Kasi dito, mix kasi nakikita ko, meron yung comments, tapos yung iba watching. So, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know na nangyari. Pero dito sa isa pang phone, nakikita ko na yung mga comments nyo. Alright. Ayun na naman, si Vida, nagbubuli ka na naman sa akin, It's just the lighting. Ano ka ba? Ano ba, guys? Relax tayo dyan. Yan, alright. Pale naman daw tayo ngayon. Ayan. Parating nyo ako nilalight. Kaya talaga, walang ya. Okay. So, we have a number of questions here. Wait lang we're still trying to figure out what's the best way forward. By the way, thank you so much sa mga friends natin from Starbucks Philippines. Tama pala talaga yung natin Yan. Tuloy nahulog. For the first time in a long time, nagkape tayo ng totoo. Ayan tuloy, hindi na ako sanay na agit na ako. Kasi sanay ako sa 3-in-1 kape. Ito medyo totoong kape, medyo malakas na yung na ako like, woo! Let's go, Top Gun! Medyo ganun na tayo. Hindi tayo sanay, pero salamat sa Starbucks Philippines for the gift certificate. Legit pala yung gift certificate, gumagana pala. So yun, sorry, hindi ako sanay sa high quality totoong kape. Sanay lang ako sa 3-in-1. So ngayon, agit na ako nahulog tuloy. So yan, ayan, okay. Kinokontrol lang natin yung agit energy levels natin. Okay. So, dami niyong tanong. My God. Saan tayo magsimula? Woo! Question number, parang Talano Gold Isa-isayin natin lahat to. Medyo, ayan lang, wait lang. Woo! Ayan, so, for instance, si Jeb Peña, nagtanong po siya, anong bang maging posibleng fate ng Pilipinas in terms of foreign policy natin under the new president-elect. I'm very curious po dito sa architecture of BBM's foreign policy. Ang sagot natin, short answer, kasi we're gonna have hopefully a detailed episode dito sa foreign policy natin, is that let's see who will be the DFA secretary, because that's where I can give a much more definitive answer. But for now, the fact that hindi binigay yung DND kay Sara Duterte shows that Marcos wants to have more direct say on matters relating to foreign policy at saka defense policy, and most likely he would want to have more traditionally minded people siguro in charge of these departments, at saka yung mga tao who can have, ito yung tinatawag namin sa international relations, equilateral balancing. So medyo balancing relationship with multiple powers without leaning too much on one against the other, without changing one for the other, ala tatay style, without mura-mura sa isa, love sa isa, hindi ganon. Depende dun sa mga benefits na nakakuha natin, depende dun sa yung tipo ng relasyon natin sa mga superpowers na yan, ibabalansa natin yan. So, I'm cautiously optimistic that we'll see a much more subdued, much more balanced foreign policy compared to President Duterte, under the incoming president. But then again, we're gonna have a detailed analysis once lumabas yung identity ng incoming DFA secretary, because that could also tell you something about sino maging USEC, sino maging assistant secretary, because all of that thing matters. This is gonna be a team effort. Tapos may tanong naman dyan dito kay Robin Padilla, chairperson, kay Isola De Leong. Okay, meron siyang tanong about Robin Padilla. As I said, we wish the best for Sir Robin Padilla. I hope he's feeling well and he's taking the rest that he needs para naman, diba? Para relax naman siya dyan, right? Because this is going to be a very, very difficult job. I hope hindi lang nagre-rely si incoming Senator Padilla kahit isang advisor or two lamang. I hope he'll oversee a proper consultation with a number of people. At dun sa committee niya, dapat talaga mag-imbita siya ng mga iba't ibang mga eksperto from different schools, from different backgrounds, para magkaroon ng sapat ng diskusyon dito sa issue ng yung constitutional amendments. Napaka-sensitive topic yan. It's an expert topic. So, meron dyan technical working groups, TWGs. Yeah, TWGs. So I think he has to oversee some good TWGs. So not necessarily kailangan na siya yung super expert. I know he has the enthusiasm, but I always say enthusiasm alone is not enough. The same way na hindi sapat yung puso lang, 'di ba? Pagdating sa Gilas Pilipinas, kailangan may diskarte, kailangan may skills, no? Ito kay Jolina Hilado. What are the disadvantages of federalism? So we can discuss advantages too, but as I said, one of the disadvantages dito sa federalism is the possibility na actually you end up empowering yung mga warlords at saka mga dynasties dahil you give them more autonomy. Right? In theory, federalism means more power to the provinces and all. But in practice, the provinces are, a lot of them have been co-opted by big political families and warlords. So ipso facto, right? Logically, pag pinalakas mo yung probinsya, actually pinapalakas mo yung mga elite at oligarchs at warlords dun sa mga probinsya. So that's one very serious risk there. Nakita ko nga may comment yung isang kasama natin dyan na mukhang si Mang Johnny ay nag-respond dun sa issue ng federalism, and his answer actually tends to be similar to mine. So wow, interestingly. So I and Mang Johnny apparently share at least one thing in common, and that's potentially our apprehensions with the perils of federalism. Ito, I have to double check, but mukhang mabait naman na followers natin ang nag-share ito. Let me, okay, pangalanan natin kasi si ano yata, wait lang. Ayan, ito daw sabi ni JPE kay Josephine Suarez. I don't know, I have to double check it. Hindi kami friends on Facebook ni Mang Johnny, so I don't know. Ano bang petsa? Sabi niya, federalism is expensive to maintain financially. I do not think we can sustain it with the current size and volume for our economy. Second, it will impose heavy tax burden on the people. It will mean a multiple tax jurisdiction. Katulad ng sinabi kong story na, what if meron kang mina, tapos nasa border ka ng dalawang estado, tapos mamaya ma-double taxation ka pa. Daming complications sa jurisprudential issues dyan. It will mean a multiple tax jurisdiction. Third, it will loosen the cohesion of the country and might lead to its eventual breakup. Fourth, the emerging federal subdivisions are not equal in nature's gifts. That's true. Some are some have more resources than others, so they'll enjoy more autonomy than others habang mapag-iwanan yung iba. Fourth, the emerging federals. Fifth, it will also lead to the rise in the price of goods nationwide. I'm not very sure about that. It depends. Sixth, the legal system of the country will be too complicated. Kind of true. Seventh, it will probably discourage foreign investors to do business with us. I'm not sure about that, but most likely it will benefit Manila and the more developed areas. Doon makakoncentrate. The same way that in the US, big investors don't go to, I don't know, Kansas. They go to New York and California, right? So growth is highly concentrated in those already developed states. While yung mga napag-iwanan na estado, napag-iwanan na talaga. So anyway, yun ang finorward ni Josephine Suarez. So I want to double check. Hindi ko po nakita ito dun sa, I mean, I'm not friends with Mang Johnny. Nakikita ko lang yung mga comments na pag ako yung chinatsakan niya. So, ayan tayo Mang Johnny. But in fairness, if this, ito caveat, if this is true, in fairness, I and Mang Johnny share something in common, finally, right? Finally. That's a good thing, in terms of point of view. Of course. So there are a number of other questions, balikan ko kayo. So similar din yung tanong ni Ray Gonzalvo, no? Ito rin issue ng federalism. Yeah, so medyo similar. Kay Mina naman, Di Malanta, more like parliamentary versus federalism. So, you can actually have parliamentary federal, right? So, hindi sila mutually exclusive. Alright? Mutually exclusive meaning they cannot coexist. But actually, they're not mutually exclusive. You can have both parliamentary and federal. Pero kasi yung mga drafts na meron tayo are federal, presidential, at saka yung, I think the other drafts are separate, hindi necessarily federal, but parliamentary unitary. So centralized parliamentary versus federal presidential. But you can find, of course, permutations, pwede mo pa i-combine yan. So komplikadong issue yan, parang bibili ka ng cellphone, ang dami mong pwedeng titignan dyan. Di ba? Ang daming varieties. Hindi naman basta-basta lang yan, di ba? Dapat pag-aralan mo kasi each cellphone, each brand, may mga may pros and cons yan. So these are very complicated issue. Hindi pwede idaan lang yan sa mga vloggers, kung ano-anong ek-ek lang dyan online. Alright? Okay. Ito naman kay mahabang tanong ito kay Ronely Pigzon. Tanong siya about the communist threat during the Marcos era. During the Marcos era, there were legitimate communist threats. Actually, the communist movement was very, very powerful during that time. In fact, one reason U.S. administrations, both Democratic like Carter or Republican like Reagan, and of course before that Nixon, supported Marcos was because they felt he's kind of their man to fight against Soviet and Chinese communist expansionist ambitions dito sa Southeast Asia. No? And in fact, he also exploited yung fear over a communist takeover to concentrate power. So one of the excuses he found, and tinatawag na false flag operation. Some were saying that was the false, yung Plaza Miranda of that. Tanongin niya si Mang Johnny. He has 10 versions of that, but some of his versions are more accurate. So what he did was, this is this phenomenon of the tail wagging the dog, right? So Marcos was like supposedly small brother a la US and all, but they actually used the communist threat to get US support no matter what it does, because the US was scared that the Philippines will fall under communists. So it's true that during that time. But towards the end of the Marcos era, because na-split yung communist movement, nagkaroon ng rejectionists, reaffirmists, etc., humina na sila. And because may Cory, liberal, oligarchy, whatever, alternative, the US felt comfortable enough to essentially let go of Marcos, right? But again, this is a very complicated issue. We can discuss that more. All right? And then by the way, when you say communist, maraming versions. There's the Maoist version, there's the Soviet, Leninist, Stalinist version. So it depends. They're not all the same, no? Ito naman kay Marco de la Cruz, tanong niya about land reform. Ukol sa issue ng agrikultura. Well, just a short answer. The issue of land reform is very, very important because, again, if you have studied basic economics or at least comparative economics, makikita nyo na yung mga successful countries na kapitbahay natin, whether it's Taiwan, whether it's Korea, whether it's Japan, a lot of these countries first had very successful land reform, and that allowed for people in the rural area to develop markets because yun nga, kung may sarili kang. So ito yung libro ulit again, of course I've read a lot. I'm just showing you the simplified version. There are more technical journal article version I can recommend also. So if you study it here, a lot of these countries first got the agriculture right, then yumaman yung mga farmers, then they could afford buying yung mga buying industrial products produced by themselves, yung mga unang kotse na labas ng Korea, yung unang mga electrical stuff na galing Taiwan. So they build up their own domestic markets. They also build up their domestic food security. So the agriculture and manufacturing went hand in hand, moved up, created the middle class, and eventually that middle class pushed for democratization by the 1980s, etc. So I'm simplifying it, but that's what happened. In the Philippines, never nagkaroon ng sustained, successful land reform. That's one of the biggest failures of all administrations in the Philippines. All of them, essentially, in one way or another, they succumbed to landed elite and oligarchic interests in this country. And even though nagkaroon ng konting land reform here and there, later on, yung mga landed elite, bumalik sila. Because yung mga farmers, wala naman silang sapat na suporta. So, to support themselves, yung small plot of land nila, nag-uutang sila. Guess saan sila kumukuha ng utang? Wala naman subsidy sa government, wala naman support. Nangungutang sila doon sa mga dati nilang hacienderos. And eventually, some of these hacienderos take over yung mga lands na nawala under land reform. So, kumbaga na-hijack yung system ng land reform. Even the limited parts are successful. So overall, the Philippines has one of the longest running and most unsuccessful land reform programs in the world, which just tells you how weak our state has been or how non-emancipatory our state institutions have been. All administration. I'm not talking about any specific administration. All of them failed in one way or another. And that tells you why sa Pilipinas hanggang ngayon, yung farmers, yung agricultural sectors natin, ang dami mga mahirap dyan, they're very neglected, etc. So sana naman maayos ito under sa mga susunod na administration. Alright, okay. Now, mga next questions, let's go through it. Again, I'm just experimenting. Of course, we can do more versions of this. I'm just seeing what works for the sake of our discussion. Mga lang naman, 400 questions lang na nandito. Let's go through some of them. Para naman meron naman tayong interactive questions. Ayan. Si naman, nagtanong, similar yung mga ibang tanong, in fairness. Marami sa federalism, etc. Ito. Gusto ko tong tanong na to kay Princess Clara. So may tanong siya dito. Sabi na, Prof, I know these countries colonized before by Spanish are poor or are in lower level countries, but those under Britain, they are rich. Actually, that's a myth. If you look at it, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, West Bank, Gaza, a lot of these places were actually British colonies back in the day. Kamusta sila ngayon? Diba? Even Yemen, you could argue, was somehow under Britain, right? So there are many, and a lot of African countries, Kenya, Nigeria, etc. A lot of these countries were also under British influence or directly colonized, right? I can go on and on. And they're not necessarily Jamaica also. So we can go the other side, right? They're all poorer than the Philippines. All these countries I've mentioned, they're all poorer than the Philippines. And by the way, amongst former Spanish colonies, countries like Chile, Uruguay, very successful countries. Argentina, back in the day, 100 years ago. Oh, by the way, Messi, very good game against Italia. Talagang lakas talaga ng Argentina and Brazil. Baka yan ang maging finals ng World Cup this year. So, Argentina was top 5 richest countries in the world 100 years ago. They were even richer than most European countries back in the day. So it's very stereotypical. Kasi ang tinitingnan nyo lang Singapore, siguro, and Malaysia and all. You're forgetting all those other countries. Anong population ng Singapore and Malaysia put together? Whatever. Baka wala pang Luzon yan. Population ng India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nigeria, Kenya, nako po, billions na yan. Aabutan tayo ng 2 billion yan, di ba? No, they're not doing very well. So yung idea na just because Spain tayo at hindi Britain, therefore ganun, doesn't make sense. Because if you look at it, a lot of ex-colonies of Britain actually are not doing well economically, right? And in fact, studies show that, remember, India actually used to be the second biggest economy in the world throughout much of history. But after they were colonized by Britain, they became one of the poorest, both per capita but also in terms of overall output. Britain rampaged, rapaciously India. Kaya nga, there are some Indian officials today who say that Britain should pay reparations to India. Nanood kayo ng RRR, yung Netflix series na India? Astiga! Ako kasi di ako nanood ng mga Bollywood masyado. Kasi alam natin, ganun, may tree doon, tapos, ganun sa, tapos punta sila sa mountain, habol yung babae, ganun, tapos yung lalaki, ayoko yung mga ganun. No! Mas telenovela Mexicanong, mas gusto ko yung ganun. Mi corazon, amor, ganun, gusto ko yung mga ganun. Ayoko yung mga ganun, Bollywood. Pero eto, ang ganda talaga tong RR. Parang yung Three Idiots na ang ganda talaga. May social relevance, may pagka-anti-colonialism. You could see how British really mistreated the Indians. And that movie, RRR, it's a way for today's India to say, we're strong, we'll fight back, and we're the boss, right? So, and this is this India we're also talking about. Panoorin yun, RRR sa Netflix. Ibang klase yung movie na yan. It's your ultimate post-colonial, nationalist, India is back kind of thing. Ito, Ito, RRRR. Grabe yung special effects niyan. Talo pa yung mga Chinese movie. Yung mag-isa lang niya, bugbog siya ng mga 1,000 people. No match yung dyan. No match yung mga Hollywood movies. Forget about Top Gun. Hindi mo na kailangan ng aeroplano. Isang tao lang, pwede ka mangbugbog ng isang barangay dito. Okay. Alright, so, yan. So, I hope we clarified that. I like those questions because we have a lot of misconceptions, right? We have a lot of misconceptions na kailangan correct. So no, it's not true na porket ex-British colony ka, you're doing better. Like, you're forgetting all of these countries are poorer than the Philippines. And put together, population of India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Kenya, Nigeria, whatever, abot na ka ng 2 billion yan almost, right? And you're just looking at Singapore, Malaysia, right? So you're missing the point. You're looking at a tiny part, you're missing the big picture. But it's true that when the British conquered the Philippines for 2-3 years lang. Ito yung first Battle of Manila during the 7 Years' War. Back in the day, mid-18th century. Actually, they introduced to us some of the more advanced capitalist methods na wala sa mga Espanyol. So we benefited slightly from those few years of exposure to Britain. And even nung nawala na sila, nung bumalik ng mga Espanyol, the British were involved in the Philippines industrialization. So actually, if I'm not mistaken, si Andres Bonifacio ay nagtrabaho sa isang British company, right? If I'm not mistaken, or British something company, kind of an Anglo-American company. So he had an exposure to advanced capitalism. Now wala sa Spain because Spain was a little bit backward na by 18th, 19th century. Especially after the Spanish War of Succession. Okay, later on na tayo mag-history. But of course, Espanya is close to our heart, di ba? At nalaman ko pala, I mean, I kind of knew it. Yung mga ex-colonies ng Spain, katulad ng Pilipinas, ang dali pala maging citizen doon. Kasi learn the language, stay there for a while. I think after 3 years or so, kung may residency ka na, pwede ka na maging citizen ng Spain. So, yun lang. Oh, by the way, kung estas dun sa mga natin dyan, La Familia natin dyan sa Espanya. Alright, kamusta ba dyan? Mga friends natin dyan sa Catalonia. Alright, although Real Madrid tayo. Alright, okay. Okay, gets. Next question. Kay MRV Dudes. Alright. The challenges for the opposition, despite or in spite of disinformation and all of that. Kaya nga, yung talk natin kahapon was about what Philippines could learn from other countries na katulad din natin na may disinformation, may vote buying, may oligarchs, all sorts of problems. But still, the opposition does pretty well. So look at, for instance, the case of Colombia, Peru, Chile. A lot of these countries are very similar to the Philippines. Very unequal. Disinformation is a big problem. Fanaticism is a big issue. All sorts of problems. Very similar to us. But kasi doon, if you look at, you have to really study yung strategy at saka yung approach ng mga progressive groups, no? Their narrative, their communication strategy, their mobilization tactics, etc. So I think there's something we can learn. Kaya nga sabi ko, kung ikaw si Lenny ngayon or opposition, mag-fact-finding mission ka. Punta ka ngayon sa Bogota or punta ka ngayon sa Santiago o yung mga ganun ng places, if not Brasilia, etc. or Rio. Study yung Party Trabajador, study yung sila, yung case sa Chile, sa Peru, etc. And look at it, Lima, punta ka sa Lima, di ba? Pag-aralan mo, paano naging presidente nila yung dating farmer teacher, mga ganon. Paano naging presidente ng Chile, dating student activist, ganon. Paano naging presidente ng Colombia, most likely next month, ay ganito, ganyan, di ba? So, I think they need some fact-finding mission, some conferences, studies, meetings, etc. Kasi, to be honest, I'll say Philippines is more similar to Latin American countries than are a lot of our neighbors. Maybe Indonesia is similar to us. That's what. But Malaysia is very different from us. Singapore is super different. Thailand is so different. Vietnam, it's totally different, right? But Chile, yung mga ganon, especially yung mga Mexico, Colombia, very similar sa Philippines. Come on. Don't be fooled by the fact that they're far away. Don't be fooled by geography. Look at institutions. Institutional attributes of the Philippines are very, very similar to Latin America. We may be racially different. We are not as Espanol as them, whatever. We may not speak Spanish anymore. And by the way, there was a question here. May nagtanong, bakit hindi na tayo nag-Espanyol? Bakit ka mo? O nga. ¿Por qué? Right? And that's one of the big problems I have. My preference was sana maging katulad tayo ng Singapore, yung mga ganitong bansa, where they're like trilingual, right? Like in Malay, Bahasa, and then Chinese and English, right? Sana ganun din tayo. Parang meron tayong Filipino national language or Bisaya if nasa Cebu ka, but also English as your formal language and also Espanol. Sana, we could have been a very, very diverse country, etc. in terms of also familiarity with languages. And para sa akin, guys, weird yun. Alam mo bakit? Yung mga sinulat ng mga ating mga ninuno, nung sinulat ng mga ating founding fathers, sila Rizal, ganon. Tignan mo yung mga essays na, they're all in Spanish. All their novels are in Spanish. We're reading the English version. Like, what on earth, right? We should read it in its original Spanish. So yung sarili natin founding documents are in a language foreign to us, which is really, really weird. Which is really, really weird. Like, ke horror. As in, I don't understand it, why we should be in this situation. And gano'n naman tayo. May Spain, doon tayo sa Spain. Tapos may Amerika, kalimutan natin Spain. Bigyan may China, doon na tayo China, kalimutan natin na Amerika. Napaka-problematic yung ganyan mindset, guys. We have to embrace our heritage and all. Not embrace colonialism. We have to question colonialism. You look at it, like Indians learned English, but now they're using that English to be powerful, right? In call center, etc. But they're not no more like that to Britain, right? They're like that. Kaya panoorin yung RRR ng Netflix. Si naman, Gabi Lopez. Totoong Gabi Lopez pa. Hindi to Gabi na Y, Gabielopes. Sabi niya, how to be a vlogger po sa Malacanang. Ayan, nagtatanong siya kung may accreditation pa tayo sa Malacanang. I'm not sure I meet the requirements. Medyo mataas yung qualifications para ma-certify ka ng vlogger sa Malacanang. Kaya sorry. Yung level ko lang kasi in-interview ko lang si Prime Minister Mahathir, minimate ko lang si President Tsai Ing-wen. Hindi ako level na vlogger na mag-cover sa Malacanang briefings and all. Wala naman spokesman si Bongbong. Sino bang spokesman niya? Akala ko nga si Karen Jimenez eh. But I don't know what they're gonna do it. Hacienda Luisita, tanong ni Razali Magpili. Ayan, tanong niyo mga kuwangko, hindi mga Aquinos. Alright? Yan ang naging problema natin. It's true that I wanted the Aquino administrations, both of them, to do more on land reform, etc. But the Hacienda Luisita issue, to just make it about Aquinos and forgetting the Kuangko angle? I don't know. I don't know, my friend. You have to do some good research. Daming tanong dito about federalism and all. Okay. Again, we'll have... Ayan, may magandang tanong din dito kay Josephine Juju Panchu Borde Moiko. Alright. Ang tanong niya, Bataan Nuclear Power Plant. Nako po, isa sa mga worries ko yan. Isa sa worries ko yan dahil may study by International Atomic Energy Agency. Matagal na yan na pinakita ang daming technical problems and all. At maraming pag-aaral na nangyari na pinakita may fault lines doon sa Bataan. At maraming pag-aaral na nagpapakita din na kung i-revive mo yung Bataan, magagastos na naman tayo ng billion-billion dyan. At malay natin kailan mabukas yan kung safe pa ba. Diba? So, tama yung sinasabi natin mga kapatid natin from Bataan. Sige, gawa kayo ng nuclear power plant dyan na lang sa Batak or Davao. Huwag nyo idalhin dito. So, yun pong sasabihin ko dyan. If you're gonna take this risky thing and you're gonna force it, at yung term ng sunk cost, di ba? Mali nga yung investment, pipilitin po, lalong magiging sunk yung cost, yung investment mo, no? Now, I'm not necessarily against diversification for energy. I am a big believer in renewable energy and next generation energy. Lalong-lalo na ngayon dahil mura na yung mga solar panels, mga windmills, kumpara dati. And because of exponential improvements in innovation, every year nagiging mas mura. Parang every year naging kalahating presyo ng mga new technologies and all. Tignan mo yung mga tignan mo yung mga presyo ng computer before na sobrang bagal. $5,000, $6,000, $34. Ngayon, pinakamaganda computer, mabili mo in $1,000, $2,000, right? So, yon. So, cycles of innovation, Schumpeterian cycles of innovation means actually renewables have a very good future. And renewables are also developing storage capacity. So, yung sinasabi nung iba dyan, hindi na ako magpangalan, yung, paano tayo mag-solar? Wala naman sun mamaya or bukas. Kaya nga may storage ka eh. Kung maraming sun, ikunin mo, i-store mo, tapos pwede mo gamitin, dalhin dun sa ibang lugar, di ba? Kung kahit wala ng sun, meron kang na storage. Or kung yan, may sun dito wala, yung mga nandito, nagsistore sila, bibigyan ka. Kung ikaw may sun, meron ka store ka, ibibigay mo doon. Gets mo? Like, if you have the infrastructure, even the cycles of nature will not be a problem. So you have to focus on the basic infrastructure, the feed-in tariff. So that's a technical term, feed-in tariff. So you have to provide some subsidies for people who produce renewables. Yan. So you have many models. Denmark has one of the most successful models that we can look at. And thanks to China, napakamura ngayon ng mga solar panels, etc. Alright? So yun nga, yun ang medyo interesting because Bongbong Marcos proud na proud siya dun sa mga windmills na binild ng mga Danish at inoperate ng Ayala ngayon dyan sa Ilocos Norte. Parati na sa niya, commercial niya as if silang gumawa. Pero so sana yung maging energy strategy mo, also focus on that. Huwag na pilitin yung problematic na Bataan nuclear power plant. Nakapunta na ako dyan eh. Napaka old school yun, my goodness. It's like 19 technology. Wag na yan. Wag na pilitin yan. Naku po. Now, if you want to have more interesting analysis on that, actually na-interview ko na yung USEC ng Department of Energy and then also critics from the other side doon sa GMA Network. Paki-check yun, yung Stand for Truth program natin. You'll see what I'm talking about. Alright? Ayan. Tapos yung iba medyo kay Angeline Simons, for instance, it's very general question. Parang it will take us forever to answer. Like, what is your vision or rather prognosis of Philippine political climate during BBM administration? Ay, medyo Madam Auring na tayo, makikita natin. May tanong din dito kay Nelson on COMELEC commissions na hindi confirmed sa CA. Well, ang alam po natin dito, Nelson Servando, is that mukhang the Committee on Appointments wants to leave it to Marcos to fill up some of the key positions rather than letting Duterte perhaps get away with 11th hour appointments. Ito yung mga last-minute appointments. Pero sana naman yung mga key appointments ay aprobado or yun ang primary preference ng incoming administration para tugma naman yung policies and all. Kay Pai Danila, nagtanong siya about Sri Lanka. Well, what we learned from Sri Lanka is that kung masyado nga umasa sa China, you're gonna be in trouble. Good thing though is, dahil wala naman masyadong investment ng China dahil na Duterte si tatay. Dahil taken for a ride lang si tatay. Wala naman, saan yung Chinese big ticket infrastructure investment? Nasaan? Wala. Ano lang tayo dyan, taken for a ride. Wala rin tayong masyadong utang sa China. Medyo diverse naman yung portfolio natin. So I'm not that worried about it. As I always said, my worry is not debt trap, it's pledge trap. Yung kunyaring mag-invest, tas yun hindi pala. Pero dahil akala mo mag-invest sila, biglang super friendly ka, West Philippines, kalimutan na natin yung ganyan style ni tatay. Nako po. Pledge trap, ang concern natin. Classroom, pledge trap. Forget about debt trap. Medyo na tayo dyan. Pinaasa lang tayo ng mga kapatid natin dyan from Zhongnanhai. Alright. Alam nyo na this. Ano pang ibang tanong dito? Daming tanong. Ubus na yung laway ko. Wait lang. Inumin ko itong totoong kape. Wala na. Nanginginig na. Hindi ako sanay sa totoong magandang kape. Pag 3-in-1, yan. Pag totoong kape na medyo mahal, medyo may gastos kasi gift certificate. Ay, medyo nakikinig. Parang you get nervous you get jitter. Wait lang. Lang yung Facebook na to. Ayan, wait lang. Tanong. So, wait. Yung ibang tanong naman dyan, obviously, I'm not gonna answer all of the questions, but we'll try to go through as many as possible. But please continue to send your questions for every meta session we're gonna have para we can have masayang discussion. Para hindi ito nag-monologue lang ako, talagang nagba-back and forth tayo dito ng discussion. Dito sa crude and oil prices, two issues, no? Very, very quickly. We'll discuss that even more before. One problem we have in the Philippines is deregulated yung energy markets natin. So, totally, umaasa lang tayo sa mga kumpanya na maging makonsensya sila at hindi nila abusuhin yung increases in the... Kasi ganito yung problema. Kung dineregulate mo yung market, walang subsidy for energy, umaasa ka lang sa mga companies to determine price increases, no? And then may konting supervision from government. I don't know how efficient that is. So, kunyari, tumaas ang 20% sa Brent crude oil, mamaya, biglang 60% umakyat dito. Parang, wait lang, how does that make sense, right? Yan ang risk pag hindi properly regulated or walang oversight. And some people are saying maybe that's the problem we have in the Philippines, na over-deregulated. Now, back in the day, we actually had our own energy, subsidized energy sector, but dahil sa daming utang na nakuha from Marcos regime, yan, that's what I'm saying, path dependency. Dahil sa lahat ng utang na nakuha natin, we had to sell off a lot of government assets and all. Now, they were not done in the best way. That's why many blame Ramos, etc. But Ramos had no choice. A lot of our energy sector was, a lot of our SOEs, a lot of government sectors were going bankrupt, right? Pero problema naman na over-privatize natin. Kaya we're paying the price for that. So, wag naman sana yung situation na pag umakyat, tapos parang rollback mo, like, akyat mo ng 4 pesos, rollback mo 50 centavos, tapos akyat mo ulit ng 3 pesos, rollback mo 1 pesos. You still end up almost 5 pesos up, right? Like, parang So, kaya nga mahalaga talaga yung oversight ng Department of Energy dyan. And ako, honestly, I believe in semi-regulated energy markets because that's very important in terms of curbing inflation, food inflation. Second, also protecting our manufacturing and domestic industries. Because if the prices increase sobra at questionably at too steep, it's going to hurt a lot of our industries and domestic manufacturing capacity. So sana we'll do something also about that. Alright. Ano yung mga ibang tanong dito? Dami. Ayan, may mga Montesquieu pa si Leah. Mamaya na tayo mag-Montesquieu. Pero yung notion of separation of powers, checks and balances, etc., a lot of that was inspired also by Montesquieu's works, in fairness to him. Ito naman kay Tess Malihan. May tanong siya about Liberal Party. Right? Ang tanong po niya, Prof, parang you said for LP to be, again, a force to reckon with, it has to rebrand itself. How do you rebrand the political party? Well, I'm not a rebranding guy. I'm still building my own brand. Ayan tayo. But my point is, LP has to do a lot of soul searching, right? And really has to up his game. But in the meantime, the pink movement opposition should be way more than LP. And some would even say it should discard LP and build a new identity and be more progressive in its policy and all. One of the big problems I had with the liberals in the Philippines, quote unquote, is that they were really not for transformative structural reform. They were for parang muddling through half-hearted reforms, tweaking here and there, but not really the kind of transformative foundational reforms we need to bring about inclusive development for Filipinos on a sustained basis. Kaya nawala ng pag-asang tao sa demokrasya. Kaya kung sino-sino ang binoboto ngayon, alam niyo na. That's essentially the story of the past 6 years. I wrote on that already in 2016. I mean, I already had a book on President Duterte in 2017. That's why I'm totally unsurprised with people's voting this year. Kaya nakita ko after elections, okay, I just had to explain to you guys. Totally unsurprised. So, Liberal Party shouldn't just rebrand. It should actually become truly more progressive. And it should actually also get a good team to come up with the narratives and inspire a new generation of leaders. My fundamental suggestion to the opposition, forget about Liberal Party, is they also have to rear a new generation of LGU leaders who prove the mettle of their leadership, who have truly transformative policies, and then from there build up national leadership. Kasi parang minsan yung mga opposition umaasa na lang, pag yung natin maging presidente, okay na lahat. Like, ito nga yung tanong ko. Sabihin natin nanalo si Lenny itong election. Pero yung Senado mo, Kongreso mo, lahat nandyan, mga unity people, right? Or yung mga tao na ayaw naman dun sa liberal reforms. Anong gagawin mo ngayon? Kaya kailangan mo ng kilusan. Kaya kailangan mo ng massive base of support. Kaya kailangan mo ng maraming LGUs na nananalo sa iba't ibang probinsya. Kaya nga kailangan na meron kang maraming supporters na nananalo dyan sa Kongreso, sa Senado, etc. Right? Yun ang sinasabi natin dyan, guys. So, yung idea na umasa na lang tayo sa baka makachamba yung kandidato natin maging next president, that's not how you attain transformative change. It's just stopgap measure. Parang naglagay ka lang ng scotch tape dyan, pero hindi mo inayos yung problema talaga fundamentally. Alright? Okay. Wow, ang tagal na natin pala nag-usap Okay. Let's go to one more questions and then let me do some overview. Let's just experiment, guys. I'm looking at what works best para we can learn from each other. To be honest, I'm also learning from you. Alright? Don't worry about it. We're all learning from each other here. On the issue of dynasties and all, again, this is a long issue. This is a long, complicated issue. Pero ang unang sasabihin ko dito is, political dynasties are flourishing precisely because we have no political parties na totoo. And people don't believe in political parties because we don't have real political parties, right? So, obviously, the solution there is what? Come up with sets of laws that support the creation of real political parties, create a culture of policy-based voting, and more importantly, do campaign finance reform. Para siguraduhin yung pag-raise ng money, hindi ka depende lang dun sa mga oligarchs, dynasties, warlords, and who knows, foreign powers in some cases. Alam na this. But actually, you have state subsidy, you have proper financing, you have crowdsourcing. Gusto ko yung ginawa nila Obama and Bernie Sanders Umasa sila sa mga $5, $10 contribution from millions of supporters, so they already had a lot of money to run for presidency. They didn't need to rely on Wall Streets and oligarchs and whatever dodgy people, right? So I think there are things we can learn. Yes, we're a poorer country, we're less developed democracy, given yan. But I think there's still things that we can learn. And campaign finance is a very, very, very serious issue. All right? Let's do one more question and then let me try to give some overview of what I want to discuss. So si Luigi naman nagtanong dun sa other cabinet post. DOH din, parang wala pa, no? Basta mukhang hindi na si Duque yung next, yun ang alam natin. Tapos itong Farmali report, naipit dahil si Duterte ang dyan. Gusto nyung tanggalin si Duterte dun sa usapan. Ay nako, ito naman tayo sa Pilipinas When something goes right, it's because of the president. When something goes wrong, hindi kasalanan ng presidente yan. Kasalanan yan yung mga nandyan sa baba. Ay nako, punta tayo sa doctrine of qualified political agency and all of that. Isa pa yan. Tsaka yung issue ng command responsibility. Ayan tayo Really? May debate between JPE and Prof. Carlos? Di ba bashing yung dalawa na yan? Sila nga nagtsatsyaka sa akin the other year na 2 years late yung reaction nila dun sa blank column ko about independent foreign policy. Hindi ko na ngayon, nag-debate sila. Bahala sila dyan. Anyway, okay. Baka si JP more, I don't know. I'm not friends with either of them on Facebook, but I mean, nakasama ko sila and all of that, but and then by the way guys, meron na magkaroon ng museum yata for Museum of Martial Law sa UP. Alright, okay, so let's look at that. That's another issue we'll have to look at. Alright, okay, so let me just give some overview of what I want to discuss today. Very quick lang Ang tagal natin palang chismisan. Siguro next time, baliktad ang gawin natin, no? So I'll first go with my key points, boom, 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 5 to 10 minutes discussion, then we go through your question and answer portion. Basta what I'm trying to do here, guys, is to show you I really care about your participation. Mahalaga po yung inyong mga inputs dito. At nakita niyo naman, kumpara last year, nung nagsimula tayo, mga October, December, whatever. Diba? Medyo recent lang naman tayo. I'm just experimenting with different formats to see what works best for us in a way that we learn from each other, alright? Hindi naman ako yung vlogger na ano lang ng mga kung ano-anong ek-ek dyan. Seryoso tayo, guys. We're here to learn from each other. For me, this is my version of town hall meeting. It's like, nandun ka sa town hall, tapos tanongin mo yung mga tao, diba? Tapos you go around, people ask you questions from different backgrounds. I love that discussions. Yung town hall meetings, I love it. You really learn a lot from people directly. Kaya nga minsan, madaldal tayo, diba? I can talk 3 hours straight, no problem. But minsan, I prefer I'll just give 15 minutes opening and then let's go press con style, question, answer, ganun, diba? But not in a press con feeling importante. Press con in the sense that I want to see your comments. Not only yung tanong, I want to see comments. Ganun. Wag naman yung Joy Salceda style kasi nung isang time, nag-comment siya sa talk ko. 30 minutes na yata yung comment siya. Mas mahaba pa yata sa presentation. Hindi, joke lang. Okay. Now, yeah, so we're just doing that. I'll go through this. Don't worry about it, guys. Sorry, there are 400 questions. Yeah, so obviously I cannot go through all of them. But a lot of questions are similar. A lot of them on parliamentary federal, a lot of them on basic commodity, etc. So I'm just moderating at sinisama ko sila. There are other issues like climate change, environment that we can also discuss more. But at least I have an idea what you guys are looking for, right? So we're trying to have an informed, reasonable discussion. Obviously, I'm not like super expert in everything, right? I mean, I have a few specializations here and there, right? You can check my Google Scholar and all of that, okay? But, so I'm not going to pretend. But what we're trying to have here, guys, is to have a kind of a informed discussion about some issues. And then, of course, some of you know, all of you know something about something more than me. So I'm also learning from you guys, all right? Okay. All right, ba't ako naggaganon ba? Ayan tayo. Yan ang problema, naka-sporty ka. Medyo iba yung vibes mo, ganun. Okay, all right. Medyo mali yata. Wait lang, that didn't look good. Okay. Yeah, so very quickly, the one thing I want to discuss is this. So incoming President Marcos has already released his priority development agenda. Ilabas ko lang dito, guys. It's quite interesting. In fairness, this is where you see there's a benefit if you have a pro-admin winning also the presidency. In a way, because it's easier to coordinate the transition process, including the possibility that for the first time in a very long time, the incoming president will be able to also set the budget or part of the priorities of the budget of his first year in office. Kasi usually nangyayari is because yung nananalo is from the other side, pero yung budget for the next year, nagawa niya na yung outgoing. So, hindi masyado tumutugma yung budget priorities dun sa incoming new administration. Pero this time, dahil meron pa tayo hanggang next month yata to finalize the budget, yung transition team at incoming secretaries ni Marcos ay nagfo-focus ngayon para ma-coordinate po yung budget priorities for 2023. So, Marcos may have the benefit that a lot of his predecessors didn't have, which is have more years that reflect his budget priorities, right? Than other presidents who came from oppositions, obviously, wala na, you're stuck with the budget and priorities of the previous administrations, right? So, if you look at it, nag-release na po yung ng priorities ang unang-una, laki na maging budget, 5 trillion pesos, 5.3 trillion pesos yung mga maging budget ni Marcos Jr. next year. Wow. Life is good. Life is good. All right. So it will be equal to 22.1% of our gross domestic product. Daming pera yun, So, yeah, ito yung for 19th Congress. So, mukhang the estimation is there will be an increase in next year's tax and non-tax collection. So this will be the tax effort na pinag-usapan natin yan from 3.6 trillion to or 15% of our GDP to from earlier 3.8 So not that much. No, sorry, the target increased from 3.624 to 3.633, right? Now, if you look at it, the budget priorities, halos lahat ng budget priorities ni Marcos could be said in the following three words, right? Development, development, development. It's all about development and economic recovery. Everything, all the focus of Marcos, at least in his first year in office, will be all about development. So let me just bring in the list. Like, if you look at it, it's all just the same thing. And a lot of that also is focused on agricultural sector. So very interestingly, agricultural development and food self-sufficiency will be a big priority for the incoming administration. I think that's a good thing. And you have people like RC Balisacan in NEDA to oversee that. In fairness kay Sir Balisacan, he also mentioned recently that that one of his priorities will also be the manufacturing sector. Yung exactly what we were talking about. Baka nanonood siya ng meta natin. So far, the signaling is good. And if they can coordinate yung budget for 2023 so that enough budget goes to the good development projects, good initiatives, okay ako dyan. Solve tayo dyan. Alright, that's a good thing. So, I want to just bring out this thing. Marcos budget. Ayan, by the way, may tanong ba kayo dyan? May, yung mga, ito basahin ko So, ito yung priorities niya. Ito yung ayon kay incoming Budget Secretary Amena Pangangdaman. Amena, yeah, sorry, hindi Amana. Amana is actually, it comes from Arabic word, which means, I think, trust. Okay. So, the President-elect's focus areas include the following: agriculture and food security, climate change adaptation, economic recovery, improve healthcare and education, enhance infrastructure projects including digital infrastructure, utilization of renewable energy resources, good yan, strengthen tourism and job creation, sustainable development. So all of them in one way or another are about economic recovery and development. At kaya nga napakamahalaga yung NEDA dito, DOF, tsaka DOH is also on the issue of improved healthcare and may education pa. So tingnan natin si si Sarah without H, our new vice president. So sabi ni Pangangdaman, I aspire to draft and implement a budget that will promote a broad-based and inclusive economic recovery and growth. President-elect Marcos' priority programs are in line with that. So pilitin nila in the next month or so, they will make sure that the budget for next year is not just drafted by President Duterte, but actually also reflects the priorities of the incoming administration. So yung economic team ni Digong and yung incoming economic manager, technocratic team ni Marcos, mag-meeting sila to work out around this. So these are some of the interesting things that are happening as far as our politics is concerned. Quickly, on this next issue, we'll have discussion more on that. Matagal na tayo nag-usap. Alam ko gusto niyo ng pahinga. So, now, we know that if there's an opposition that really won, the real opposition that has won, in recent years, in terms of national office, it's really Riza Hontiveros. But to say that Riza is the only opposition per se, yes, she's the only real opposition in the sense that her progressive agenda is very different from the Unity team and the hegemonic bloc in charge. But remember, marami dyan mga centrist candidates na nakisakay lang kay sa Unity team dahil ito yung may momentum, may resources, etc. But once they're in power, they're not necessarily going to be yes men or yes women, right? They're going to have their own minds. No, so and then some of them, in fact, like Jesus Cordero, actually come from the opposition. At least they're not seen as progressive opposition, but they were part of Lenny's grand opposition ticket. And Jesus Cordero said that he actually voted for Lenny, etc. So to say that all of them will be with Unity or with Marcos and yes man, yes woman, no, you're missing the point. So I think what should happen here is that Riza should work with other centrist candidate and other candidates na nakisakay na lang sa Unity pero actually may sariling pag-iisip and more independent-minded. Those are the people you can look at. And I'm thinking a lot of people. I think Zubiri could be one of them. Who, by the way, he was part of the United Opposition before he defected to the other side. Sherwin Gashalian. I think JV Ejercito is someone also they can work with, especially on healthcare issue. Among others, Senator Angara, I think is someone also. So Riza is not going to be completely alone. I think if she plays her cards well, the minority bloc in the Senate will be composed of those who do not want to be yes men and yes women. In fact, even Cayetano, who was close to Duterte, but not necessarily the Marcoses, might join also the minority. So Riza might find herself with Cayetano and some of the ex-DDS people who are not necessarily excited with BBM presidency, right? So that will be an interesting dynamic to look at. So what can happen here is conflict of self-interest, right? Could also create a kind of a opposition in the Senate and some of the key branches of our government in ways that we didn't expect. And then, of course, the other one is the dynamics between Sara and Marcos. So far, so good, although Sara didn't get what she wanted. Arroyo didn't get what she wanted. I don't know. It's interesting. Everyone thought that Marcos is, he's just gonna, women will control the income. And then the next thing you know is Marcos really gets everything he wants, right? Martin runs the show in the Congress. Zubiri will run the show in the Senate. Hindi nakuha ni Cynthia, hindi nakuha ni Arroyo, hindi nakuha ni Sara yung DND. It's interesting, very interesting. Let's see. But in fairness, at least yung cabinet ni Marcos is more or less, it's quite gender balanced, in fairness. We have a lot of our, marami sa ating mga kababahian, at saka mga manggagaling na, mga technocrats, etc., are there in the cabinet. So let's see what's going to happen there. So anyways, are there questions here? Let me, again, see if I can swipe. So you see, guys, my problem here is that in this screen, what I see is, parang, kunyari, John Paul Bonafe is watching. Luel Balilo is watching. And then yung iba biglang pinapakita yung comments nyo. So I don't know what's going on here. Right. So hindi siya consistent. Ayan, now some comments are coming out. Sabi ni Leo Domanico from Italia, Milan. Watching from Milan. Grazie. Very much. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Like, on one hand, you have Bato and those types. And then on the other hand, you have Jesus Cordero. You get what I'm saying? Yes, Riza is really the super opposition, but it's a 50 shades of gray there, all right? And then Bato and those people, right? Hindi ko talaga na-gets yung si Bato umiiyak with Drilon and all of that. Ewan ko sa kanila talagang my school of dramatic arts and ewan ko talaga sa atin. Bahala na. May parating pa si Robin Padilla, our guy who will be in charge of constitutional change. Ayan. Ayan naman tayo eh. Lumalabas, tapos hindi lumalabas. Hindi ko alam bakit ganyan yung comment section. Check ko na lang dito sa isang phone. At least nakikita ko yung mga live comments niya. So at least guys, tingnan ko yung mga ibang comments niya. Ayan tayo eh. Okay, I see what's going on. Alright. I kind of have an idea. But, bakit ganun ng Meta at saka Twitter, nagpalit sila ng interface nila in the past few days lang. Kaya medyo nag-adjust po tayo dito. Ayan, tagal na natin. Isang oras na yata tayong chismisan dito Ayan. Yan, sabi ni Gemma, may soft heart din si Bato. Ayun tayo eh. Soft heart, tapos nung in charge ng PNP, sino nag-over, ng drug war na yan kung Yan tayo eh. Si Jerry Obidas, ang tanong niya about Department of Agriculture. Actually, magandang tanong yan sa DA. At magandang tignan din yung kombinasyon ng DAR, hindi lang DA, yung Department of Agriculture, Reform, di ba? Agrarian Reform. So DAR, NEDA, and DA. Yan, mahalaga yung combination na yan. You have to look at that also. Si Melanie Gurab. How tall are you? Aba, may mga personal questions na yan. Usually it starts like, how tall are you? Kayo, ano malay nyo? Anong tingin nyo? Anong tingin yung height natin? Tingnan ko nga. Sige, bigyan nyo both in inches and centimeters. Tingnan ko kung mag-guess nyo yung height ko. I don't think I'm short. That's all I can say. Alright. Yung tanong sa LP, ito naman, Liberal Party naman binabalikan Naka-Brazil ba ako na dilaw? Hindi naman, di ba? Gusto ko magdamit ng Brazil dilaw, pero baka yung ba, di nila alam na Brazil uniform yan. Ano naman tayo ng mga trolls niyan. Like I care, but, it's good to have drama here and there. Okay. Ano po yung mga ibang tanong dyan? El Señor Ricardo. Es muy bonito, sabi ni Pia Isabel Vargas. Muchas gracias, señora. Okay. Bahala na for today's video, sabi ni Zio Kath Ramos. Ayan. Ayan. Okay. Wala na kayong tanong dyan? Actually, marami na kayong tanong. Nakita ko dun sa isang... Mga 400 lang naman. But, in fairness, a lot of them are similar. And siguro naman, dapat meron tayong theme. Like, on this theme, ano yung mga tanong nyo for today? Dapat ganun pa siguro yung approach natin, no? Ayan. Sabi ni Jesse Manohan, thank you, sir. Ayan. Thank you. Thank you sa'yo, sir. Thank you kay JC. Ay, Jesse. Sir, right? Yeah, sorry. I didn't want to get it correct. Oh, sabi ni Jocelyn, I'm 5'11". Parang stalker yata kayo, ah. Ito sabi ni Angela, 6'3". No, not that tall, no? No. Sabi niya sa 5'11". Parang medyo nakakatakot yung mga stalker na yan, ha? Paano niya alam yan? Sabi ni Romaldo 5'8"? No, sorry, no. 5'8", no. That's Tom Cruise. Is he even 5'8"? No, okay, alright. Ayan. Yan. Si Angeline, 5'11" too. Alright. Ayan tayo eh. Vlogger na. Chismisan na lang tayo dito. Sabi naman ni Alferado. About Aimee? Oo. Yung how will they clear their name. Ayan. Kaya nga tignan natin ang mangyayari sa PCGG, no? Yung Presidential Commission on Good Governance. Anong mangyayari dyan? At saka yung corruption issues and all. At saka yung real estate tax. Tignan natin ang mangyayari dyan. Alright. But sabi nga naman ni Marcos na he's gonna focus on the corruption issues. So let's see what he's gonna do. How he's gonna clean up the government, right? So tignan natin yan. Oo. Yan. May mga ibang tanong ba kayo dyan? Mga friends natin dyan from Gitnang, Silangan, Saudi, United Arab Emirates. Nakita ko yung flag eh. Emirat al-Arabiya. Our friends from Espanya. Our friends from Europe. And our friends from San Diego, California, from Canada, from Quezon City. I like that. Canada, that was Quezon City. Mga Hawaii natin, friends. Grabe yung time zone eh. Anong oras na dyan ngayon? Parang 21 hours difference, di ba? Yan tayo eh. Ayan. Good morning din sa mga friends natin dyan in California. Gising na ba kayo? 5 a.m. yata ngayon, no? 5:20 lang. Ayan, stalker. Yan, kamusta kayo dyan? Yan. Alright. Okay. Yeah, I have to figure out. I don't know why it's ganun. Hindi nagpapakita ng comments. Di ba nagka-comment kayo ngayon, di ba? Bakit wala akong nakikitang comments? Nakikita ko lang who's watching. You see, yan ang problema. Parang may lag eh. Hindi ko alam what's going on here. Ayan, so si Evelyn Abaw. Hello from Ayala Avenue. Okay. Saan yung mga natin dyan? Friends natin dyan from Cubao, Oxford, Cubao. Yan, Princeton, Cubao. Sabi naman ni Marco, Netherlands jersey. Nagwa-World Cup bang Netherlands? Back in the day, 2010, they were good. Alright, ayan. Sabi naman ni MGX daw niya, 5'11", kaya alam niya yung height na gano'n. Ayan tayo eh. Hugot lines. Ayan. Sabi naman ni Gary, sino mas gusto mo? Mahathir or Lee Kuan Yew? Mahathir. Ayan. Sabi naman ni Lucia, ayan. The Maple Tree Autumn Leaf Canada. Kamusta kayo dyan? May mga tayong friends from Canada. Kay Lucia, kay Pressy. God bless. So pag dumaan ako dyan, hi ako sa inyo. Lalo pag Vancouver din. Toronto rin, of course. Given na yan. Usually nasa Halifax ako dun for the Halifax Security Conference. Friends natin from Orlando, Florida. Alam mo, nandun yung lola ko. God bless his soul. He used to stay there actually. Florida. Yes. Kaya malapit sa puso natin ang Florida. Alright. Lolo Rodrigo. God bless your soul. Yan. Okay. Ano pa? Good evening daw si Raymond Banatica from Iloilo. Kamusta po dyan? Sabi naman ni Chris, feasible bang trickle-down economics? I think laos na yung mindset na yan. It's what rich people like, but it's not what works for most people. Kaya we need really more aggressive policies to make sure that yung ating mga kababayan will really benefit from economic growth. Alright, okay. Ayan, sabi ni Gary naman, thank you Chad dun sa mga sagot. Alright. Sabi naman ni Mark, Ilocano kamet gayam, prof. Ayan. Agpadata. Okay. Taga-Bantay, Ilocos-Surnac. Okay. Madam-dama. Sige, usap tayo. Ayan, mga friends natin also from the Middle East. Marami. Thank you kay Margaret. By the way, thank you sa stars niyo and support niyo. Thank you kay Margaret. Thank you kay Marco, Dumaling. Yan, yung mga friends natin dyan. Oh guys, ayusin ko, hindi ko alam parang hindi consistently lumabas yung comments. So I really apologize for it. I don't know what's going on with the, so like I have to double click and all, and then biglang lumalabas. So mga friends din natin dyan from Genève, from Switzerland. Yeah, okay, I think that's too French, not Swiss. Ayan tayo. Okay. Oh, by the way, Paris Saint-Germain, yung ano natin ngayon. So, hopefully, better luck next year sa Champions League. Okay? For now, Los Blancos. Vamos! Prof, magdadagdagan pa ang tax. Oh, tanong ni Christian Verde, tax. Well, sabi ni Sonny Dominguez, kailangan natin ng fiscal consolidation, which could mean two things simultaneously, actually. One is belt tightening, so reducing expenditure in certain areas, and two, increasing taxes to create fiscal stability. But, ayon kay Benjamin, joke no, hindi Chel joke no, Benjamin joke no, pinsan yata sila, diba? Hindi yata kailangan daw ng increase in taxes. What they need is tax collection improvement. So, let's see how they're gonna balance that. But in theory, I agree actually that perhaps we can deal with the situation by more efficient, lalo doon sa mga big companies, etc. Right? Alright. Tanong naman ni Alterado about the pink movement. Anong advice mo mabigay mo sa kanila? So please watch yung meta natin kahapon. I discussed that not very detailed pa, but I gave an overall view of that. We'll discuss more and more of that, especially as more election coverage analysis comes on Colombia and also Brazil. The Brazil will be a big one. I'm very excited about Brazilian elections. Super excited. Yeah. Salamat. Thank you very much. Oh, friends natin dyan. Oh, wow. From Australia, mates. How are you, mates? Gising pa kayo dyan, kay Andrew Nicodemos, joining us from Australia. Saan ba? Baka Perth naman kayo. Pag Perth, wala. Madaya. Same time zone lang tayo. Pero yung mga mahirap, yung mga Melbourne, Brisbane, New South Wales area people, Sydney, yung mga ganun. Mga cousins natin dyan. Yan. Thank you naman dyan. Yan. So, I hope that kind of reassured you somehow, Christian, on the issue of taxes. So far, it seems it's more focused on tax effort rather than increasing the taxes or suspension of tax breaks. Yung mga exemptions na binibigay sa mga companies, sa mga kung sino-sino dyan, mga tax privileges, i-roll back daw yung mga yan instead of increasing taxes on us. I just don't think Bongbong Marcos wants to start with increased taxes. I think it will not help him politically. So probably for a year or so, they'll try not to introduce any tax increase. Yeah. Ayan, sabi ni Juniora, marami TNT. Walang wag naman tayo ganun, guys. Ayan, mga friends natin dyan, naglo-load na yung mga comments nyo. Friends natin from Sydney. Oh, and then we have friends from New Zealand. Sorry, hindi ko na magaya yung accent ng New Zealand. Medyo mas iba sa Australian. Si kay Tess Makabagdal. Ayan, kamusta kayo dyan? Pakikamusta naman si Jacinda Ardern. Sorry, ginagawa kong Spanish. Jacinda Ardern. I was supposed to meet her actually in 2020. And then nagkaroon ng pandemic. Hanggang ngayon, yung visa ko hindi pa rin na-approve. Hoy, New Zealand, ano ba? Nauna na Australia sa inyo. Hinintay ko pa yung visa ko. Ano ba yan? Bibisita ako dyan. Alright. Yan. Sabi naman ni, yan. Sabi ni Rosel, kay Cecile. Yan. Grabe naman si Joe. Wag naman ganun. Wag nang maglaglagan sa TNT. Wag ganon. Si Rosas naman from Canberra. Yan. I used to be there a lot, especially because of ANU and events and all like that. Australian National University. Sabi ni Vida, ba't ako excited sa Australia? Secret! Okay. Hindi naman. I just love Australia. They're cool people. Rosie, yung PhilHealth. Ayan, nako. Sana naman yung mga appoint sa PhilHealth at sa DOH, hindi yung tatay style, ha? Sana yung matitino talaga. Kaya bantayan din natin ng mabuti mga departamento na yan. Marami pa na tayong kailangang ayusin dito sa ating healthcare system. So ano pa? Ayan na yung mga correct movement friends natin dyan. Copy-paste. Ang haba ng comments. Copy-paste. Ayan tayo Magbabardagulan na naman kayo sa akin. Sabi naman ni Ryosei Nagano, oy, tomari ka to. Okay, gozaimasu. Hope to see you in Japan. Hopefully, nandas ka, Ricardo. I wanna go there to Japan. Nag-aaral ako ng konti dun sa, sa Waseda also. Just to say, I have a little bit of Japan background. Konti lang. Ayan. Dun sa universal healthcare, by the way, dun ako masaya na nanalo si JV dahil I mean, on that issue specifically. Kasi si Senator JV actually was very much involved dun sa universal healthcare issue. So sana ma-follow up niya yung mga kulang dun sa implementation ng IRR. Kasi it's one thing to pass a law, it's another to implement it. Diyan mahalaga yung implementing rules of and regulations, IRR. No? And also yung mga kapalpakan and corruption na nangyari. Sana ayusin yan. Si Agnes naman, ay binabalikan yung issue ng university. So by the way, kanina, busy tayo. Dumaan tayo dun sa, hello sa mga friends natin from PUP and San Beda. Dumaan tayo sa Polytechnic University of the Philippines and San Beda, etc. Of course, nagtuturo din tayo dyan. Kaya I had to do some paperwork. We met some of our friends, students, etc. Yung mga folks dyan, I'm not gonna say which part, malalaman nila ng ginagawa ko doon. But it was really good to drop by campuses and all. Binawal, wala ko in person in a university and all dahil sa pandemic. So, kamusta naman dyan? As someone who's a product of UP Diliman, has taught in Ateneo, La Salle, etc., let me tell you one thing, right? No school has a monopoly on either intellectual excellence or moral excellence or political activism or whatever, right? Maraming magaling sa Pilipinas, right? All schools have their own strengths and also their weaknesses in one way or another. So I don't buy all of these quartet, blah, blah, blah. It's so elitist and all of that. Although, of course, naman, may K naman yung mga eskwela niyan. But, to be honest, lahat ng mga eskwela natin kulelat internationally. So, kailangan natin ayusin talaga yan. There were times when UP was top 10 in Asia, but that was a long time ago. Now, it's barely top 200, right? So, may problema po tayo dyan, right? Kaya wag mayabang masyado yung mga taga-UP, Ateneo, etc. Ang baba ng ranking nyo internationally, okay, magyabang. Alright? Okay. Umayos tayo. Alright. Yung West Philippines naman natin pag-usapan, Arnel, very complicated issue na yan. Ito naman si Ann, pinipilit tong issue ng Australia federal whatever. Okay? Ayan na naman tayo. Alam mo, ang tawag dyan selection bias. I-emphasize mo lang yung mga cases at work and then it's monocausal explanation which is a little bit so outdated, right? There are many factors that explain. By the way, Australia for 10 years was under conservative coalition na medyo ewan. Ngayon lang na medyo nagkaroon ng good change, alright? Speaking of federalism, etc., let's talk about Brazil, let's talk about Nigeria, India anyway, is federal in stuff, and it has a parliament. Come on, guys. Let's not fall for those stuff. But again, in principle, dun sa mga troll friends natin na nagtatroll sa akin about parliamentary federal, mag-usap tayo na mabuti. Wala namang problema sa akin eh. Huwag nyo lang ako i-troll ng screenshot kayo dun sa mga reply ko. Tapos, ISIS plays nyo, tapos tawa-tawa kayo pa. Hello. You don't even matter. I mean, okay. You want a proper discussion? Let's have it. Act like kids, not 12-year-old, Lalo yung vlogger nyo dyan, umayos siya. Alright. Ano pa bang ibang tanong natin dyan? Yeah. So, yun na. Hi ulit sa mga friends natin from PUP, San Beda, among others. Of course, yung mga ating mga friends in UP, mga dati natin estudyante sa Ateneo, La Salle, etc. Yeah. Yung mga ating colleagues abroad. Kamusta mga friends natin in Taiwan, in Stanford, etc. Yeah. Okay, mamaya na tayo mag-drama. Yung my friends tayo from Kenya. Wow, nice. Ito yung dyan galing ni Obama, Kenya. Yan. Mami yung Kenya, pag-usapan natin, interesting din yung debt trap issue sa kanila, yung mga investment ng China. Ito let me be very clear. No discussion on Amber versus Johnny Depp issues. No. We're not gonna do that, okay? Walang Amber, Johnny Depp. Napansin niyo, I made no comment whatsoever on that. Ayaw kong patulan yung issue na yan, alright? Okay. Si Edelisa, thank you very much for your support. Ayan. Sino naman dyan? Nandyan. Si Lenny Lynn. Anong balita sa gasolina? Ayan, mahal pa rin. Yung, parang ang mahal lang diesel ngayon, no? Kasi mahal na siya ng parang gasoline, ibang klase, napaka biglang, speaking of gasoline, biglang lumabas ang news sa akin dyan, yung Sukhoi fighters ng Russia. Stig nga yung yung Top Gun Parang kalaban doon, hybrid ng iba't ibang kalaban ng Amerika. Stig nga Tapos may Su-57, meron tayo dyan copies dyan. Stealth fighters. Okay, alright. Lampas na tayo ng 1 hour. Ang tagal na pala natin nag-usap Thank you very much guys Don't worry guys. Marami tayong pag-usapan God willing, if the Lord gives us the energy, the focus, the patience, the time, etc. And please, if tuloy-tuloy yung supportan niya, we will try to go through all your question and answer. As I said, don't come to me if you want ready answers, junk food, fast food. No, you're not gonna get that. If you want a serious, reasonable, adult discussion, please come to me. And yes, we're gonna have bardagulan and discussion once in a while. Medyo magkantsawan din tayo, alaskador din tayo. But if you really want a dialogue discussion, please come here. This is our agora, right? This is the Haydarian agora. Ito yung parang Athenian bazaar na pupunta dito and people randomly will talk with each other, right? We'll do it the Socratic way. Magmamarites tayo but at a high philosophical level, all right? Philosophical marites. Yan ang, I like that, philosophical marites, okay? Yan ang magiging blog natin, philosophical marites, okay? So this is your agora. This is your Haydarian metaverse, okay? And so don't worry, I'm not here to give you easy answers. There are no easy answers to complicated issues. Anyone who says there's an easy answer, they're either manloloko or they are either clueless or worse. I don't want to use other words. Mabait ako today. All right? Mabait ako today. So don't worry now. Nakikita ko yung comments na dito sa isa. Hindi ko nakikita dito. I don't know why. Napaka-weird itong ano natin. Uy, may friends din tayo from Tonga and South Pacific. Anong oras na dun? Aga ngayon na. Anong oras kayo dyan ngayon? Woo! 5 p.m. 11 p.m. of another day, right? You're like 11 p.m. of the other, something like that, right? You're parang magmi-midnight na kayo ng anong araw mo ngayon? Thursday. Parang Thursday magmi-midnight na kayo, di ba? Pag Tonga, gano'n. Yun. Oy, by the way, dun sa mga kamag-anak natin, mga Ilocano dyan sa Hawaii. Ayan. Lola Teresing. Yeah. Yung gift ko, Wag na. Okay na, ako na. Hanan. Nalpasen. Uston. Thank you very much, Lola. Yung mga family natin, Tito Richard, mga kaibigan natin dyan sa Hawaii. Yan. Mga Ilocano. Walang hiya pag nasa sa Hawaii ako, pag nagte-taxi ako doon. Pag siguro mag-Tagalog ka, di ka papansin. Pag mag-Ilocano ka, biglang papansin ka, kapsat, gayam, kastoy, ganyan. Yan. So, nag-Ilocano. Pag alam ko Pinoy yan, Ilocano kasi parang feeling ko Ilocano to eh. Doon lalo doon sa ayan. Parang ang haba ng chismisan natin to, naging Joe Rogan na tayo. Abutan tayo ng 3 hours nito next time pag I go through all your questions. So, nakasagot po tayo ng 6 question out of 387 questions. So, medyo next time natin habulin, tulog muna tayo. Sorry pero come on, yung 6 questions na yan, I think I covered 47 questions. So, we still have 340 questions na hindi ko pa nasagutan. Alright? But don't worry guys, tomorrow, post even more questions. Para 1,000 questions na tayo. Parang 1,000 nights of, medyo tayo may Aladdin style tayo dito, okay? 1,000 questions for Haydarian. Yan. Okay. Uy, masaya to Parang na-enjoy ko to. Parang talagang nag-usap-usap talaga tayo dito. Feeling ko, kung may tao na hindi niya alam may technology live ganun. Tapos, papanorin lang niya ako. Parang, sino kausap na to? Ilang 2 oras na niya, nagchichismisan lang. Wala naman siyang kausap. May phone lang nandun. Ayan. O yan naman kay Mitch Kanoy. Thank you very much, John, from Jeju. Uy, Jeju, yun yung magandang island, di ba? Sa South Korea, yung parang Boracay version nila. Pero mukhang Dolomite Beach kumpara sa mga beach natin. Ayan. Uy, by the way, Dolomite Beach, guys, bubuksan na ulit. Ayan. We're in Hawaii, which is mostly mga iba. Mamaya ko na sabihin saan kami sa Hawaii, yung mga pamilya ko doon. Oh, marami kami Ilocano doon sa Hawaii, grabe. Yung dating governor ng Hawaii, di ba, Ilocano din? Oh. Kansamida, dun sa mga friends natin from Korea, Jeju Island. Ganda nun. Ganda yun. Kakapasok lang, sabi ni Gio. Present, prof. Wala, late ka na. Wala na. You're early for next class tomorrow, okay? Sorry. Ayan na naman tayo, mga masyadong maaga for the next class. Ayan tayo. Wait lang. Ayan Yeah, okay. Ano ulit dito? Ayan. Watching from Pangasinan, Bugalon, si Devs Lady. Uy, kamusta pala si Lolo? Di ba sa Pangasinan si Lolo? Oh, yung si Lolo na pinapakulong over ano lang yung mangga, walang iya talaga yung ginawa sa kanya. Grabe. Oo. Sabi naman ni Ange Tanyo, we highly recommend your meta to my AP co-teacher. Is this Aralin Panlipunan? Okay, alright, okay. I hope you're not just watching my meta, you know. You can buy my books, you can read my articles, ganun, okay, alright. You can watch me on YouTube, para naman, diba, may views din tayo dun sa kabila. Pa-coffee naman dyan. Ayan, guys. Once na ako nagkape ng hindi 3-in-1 in a long time, naging 2 hours tuloy yung meta natin. Ganun pala ng epekto kung totoong kape. Ang haba ng meta. Nagmeta tayo ngayon. Okay. Oh, okay, tama na. Oh my goodness, 1 hour 20 minutes. Guys, I think we have a new record for our meta. At the rate we're going, abutan na tayo ng 3 hours to. Magiging ano tayo dyan. Magiging Joe Rogan experience. Gusto ko nga magiging Hey Darian experience. Hey Darian metaverse. Parang ganun. Oo. Yan ang gawin natin dyan. Okay. Oh, ano pa? Lastly, mag-goodbye na tayo. Alam ko may ano na kayo dyan. Sabi naman ni... Uy, meron tayong friends from Sultan Kudarat. Si Gary Badayos. Yan, napakagandang lugar yan. Katulad ng sinasabi namin Ilocano. Pintas Met. Wen. Gandang lugar yan. Ganda ng nature nyo doon. And of course, your history, your proud history. Resisting mga Espanyol, conquistadors. Ayan. Sabi ni Nani, saan namin mabili yung libro mo? Ngayon, online na lahat, guys. Punta lang kayong Amazon, mga ganun. Type nilang name ko, lalabas yung mga libro, okay? Bilhin niyo yung mga mas mura. Yung wag yung mga mahal, bati ako. Ayan. May mga mas mura dyan. Kahit Kindle lang, pwede na. Bilhin niyo yung mga Kindle, guys. Mas mura yung Kindle. Hopefully in the future, gawa rin ako ng audiobook ko. God willing. Yan ang gagawin natin. Para yung mga ayaw magbasa, medyo yan, makinig na lang kayo. I-discuss ko yung libro. Yan. O yan, online lang yan, guys. Don't worry. Hindi nyo ma-Shopee yan. Medyo social tayo, Amazon tayo, okay? Yan. Friends natin from Tacloban City, Leyte. Uy, friends natin from Beijing. Ni hao ma. Tagal ko hindi nag-Beijing, 3-4 years na. Oh. Yung first time ko sa Beijing, nasa Beida ako. Ang ganda ng pagoda sa gitna ng Beijing University. Ang ganda. Beida, by the way, is the term for Beijing University. Very good school. Galing. And then yung isang event namin malapit, parang affiliated siya sa Tsinghua University, which is now considered the best university in Asia. Alright. Ano pa ba ang... Ano ko nga? May technique ba ito para lumabas yung mga comments nyo? Feeling ko, itong meta, too slow for us. Hindi siya umabol sa atin, kaya hindi niya pinapakita katulad dati. May problema talaga itong meta na to. Walang ya. Ay, my friends naman tayo dyan from Brunei Darussalam. Wow, mayaman yung mga tao doon. Grabe ah. That's a very rich place and very beautiful. Yung kanilang ecology kasi well-preserved eh. So, wassalamualaikum to our friends in Brunei Darussalam. Uy, Turkey. Sabi ni Sherwin. Yeah, it's called Turkey. Yeah, Turkey. Yeah, it's not Turkey kasi kaya nga pinagtatawanan sila kasi Turkey, alam niyo na, di ba? Turkey talaga. Pero it depends hindi na, Turkey pa rin tayo. Oo. Pag sa Turkey ka or kausap mo taga-Turkey, huwag sabi mo Turkey. Huwag mo sabi Turkey, magalit na sila sa'yo. Friends natin dyan from Alberta, Canada. Uy, dyan galing si Jordan Peterson, di ba? Taga-Alberta siya. Yun yung parang Texas nyo in terms of like resources. Rich kayo Cowboy style. Yan. Jordan Peterson, Alberta. Yeah. Lalet Cabanil. Ay, alam ko controversial si Jordan Peterson dyan sa inyo. Oh, erase. Next comment. Ayan. Sino naman dito? Sige guys. Kung may kape tayo na maayos, matagal tayo mag-usap dito. Wala na, pwede na tayo tayo dito. Kape sessions. Parang nagkakape lang tayo, nagchichismisan. Nakabakmet ti GSW, prof. Ne? Diba gam? Anya ti GSW, kapsat? Ano yung GSW? Ano yung GSW? Oh my God, what is GSW? Ang alam ko, nanalo si Brazil kahapon. 5-1, tambak yung Korea. That was shocking. I thought Korea will do better. Kasi ibang Asian teams, I don't think they can beat them 5-1. Like Qatar, Iran, good luck beating them 5-1. There's no way. Malakas yung mga yan. 1-0 lang siguro ang talo mo yan pagkalaban Argentina, Brazil. Ay nako, good luck sa Asian teams this World Cup. Saan ang mangyari? Latino brothers and Asians will do good in this World Cup. Masaya ako. Yung mga Europeans, wala. Mahina naman. Hindi na sila katulad ng dati. Si Chel Ross. Wala, alam mo, Che, ano lang, kapel lang yan. Oh, Golden State Warrior. Sabi ni Mark Corpus. Sabi ni Mir, haba ng live. Ay, marami pa tayo. May 700 pang natira dito. Yan, mga Turkiya. Stream mo rin live meta mo sa YouTube channel. Paano ba yan? Ang mangyayari dyan, dalawang phones, di ba? Yung ganon. Yung parang sa mga unit team rally, yung may 10-10 yung phone na nagla-live. Sige, kung may budget tayo and all, gawin natin yan. Tingnan ko kaya ng internet broadband ko na multiple, that's a good idea. Sige, I'll think about that. Golden State Warriors. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Hindi na ako nag-NBA, guys. Wala na akong pake doon. I'll be honest, guys. Hindi ako nakaka-relate sa NBA kasi ang tatangkad nila masyado. Parang I cannot relate with them. Like they're giants and all. And basketball is, come on. Basketball is not exciting like football. In football, kahit mahina ka, you can still chamba, mananalo ka. Pag basketball, matangkad lang kalaban mo, wala na, tapos ng laban. Hindi ako nakaka-relate. At least sa football, yung height ko, hindi ganun kalayo kay Cristiano Ronaldo. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can relate to the star players. Tapos rin, katulad natin yung mga players doon, di ba? Hindi sila yung mga giant, mga NBA, ganun. I cannot relate with them. I cannot play, I cannot dunk like that. But I can run like some of the players. But imagine now, Zadi na ako. But back in the day, I could run like, the top players in football. So I cannot relate to basketball. Kaya sorry dun sa Golden State Warriors, sorry. Si Kerry ba nandun? Is Kerry, Kerry, is he GSW? Right? Pero alam ko sino may-ari ng GSW, right? Yung dating Facebook guy, yung in charge ng mga algorithm kalokohan. I think he's the one in charge. So you see, I know the finance background of GSW. Yeah. Dati kasi fan talaga ako, guys, ng si Nowitzki, mga gano'n. Panon na yan. Yun yung mga favorite time ko na NBA. Pero wala, nag-move on na ako. Back ako sa first love ko, which is football, soccer. Not American football, the real football, the European. Yeah. Yeah, Stephen Curry, di ba? GSW siya. Okay, yeah. Sorry, hindi ko. Abay, nakabakis na. Okay. Sino bang kalaban ng GSW? Ang tanong naman ng sabi ni Shay, ayos yung balbas mong maliit. Walang nga. Tawag dito? May term dyan yung hindi mo fully shave. Para may konting paring matitira. Yan ang, para man. David Beckham style. Ayan tayo. Hindi maliit ang balbas, Kamsar. Kung nag-grow yan, medyo naman puno. Hindi naman yung punong-punangan dito. Hindi naman gano'n. Hindi naman, tawag doon, Brutus Maximus. Hindi naman gano'n. Pero, Latino, kuha dito. Pero, syempre, Zadi na tayo So, better ganyan. Ayan, tama na. Okay na. Tama na. Lalpasan. Nagawit tayo. Yung iba, umuwi na kayo. Alam mo yung parang nagchismismisan lang kayo sa bahay. Tapos yung mga bisita yung umuwi. Parang hintay mo, uwi na kayo. Pero parang gusto pa rin nila makipagmaritas sa'yo. Ganun. Magawit na kayo. Uwi na kayo. Ayan. Si Renato. Ayan. Ano sabi niya, Sabi ni Ann ulit, kanina ka pa, yung point ni Clarita Carlos na parliamentary is better than presidential system. I don't know. Anything in theory can be better, but the question is in practice. But in fairness kay Ma'am Carlos, she has done some research on bureaucracy and all that, which I have quoted also as one of the top sources on that topic when it comes to Philippines. So in fairness, due respect. But I have my own ideas. Yung kay Che, goatee. Hindi naman goatee yan. May mga konti pa dito ito! Tinamad na ako i-shave yan, yun lang. Na-shave yung dito, pero dito hindi, sorry. Pero okay naman, di ba? Medyo zaddy. Boston Celtics kalaban. Ay, medyo. Gusto ko silang pareho eh. Lakers naman talaga ako dahil kaya ano eh. Pero wala na, mahina na. Ayoko na mga yun. At shadow, yung term sa ganun. Yeah, ako term ko dyan, David Beckham. Ayan tayo. Kaya nung sinabi na Becky, saan galing yung Becky kay Beckham? Ibang klase talaga ng mga tao. Walang niya talaga mataga-diliman yung mga terminologies na ginagawa nila. Ano yung namin Zaddy? Alam mo na, yung Zaddy yung ano pa rin, pero hindi na kasing bata ng dati. Yun ang Zaddy. Sabi naman ni Cheryl Singh, nakaabol din ako. Watch na lang from start mamaya. Greetings from Brisbane! Yeah, I love Brisbane. Brisbane is so cool. I love Brisbane. Nag-UQ ako dati na dumaan doon sa University of Queensland. Tapos yung speaker pa doon si Kevin Rudd, yung dating Prime Minister. Ang daldal niya, sobrang daldal niya. And ang ganda ng Brisbane. I really love it. Pero wala, hindi na ako nag-jowa doon, so. Next time. Better luck next time. So, yan, thank you. Move on na ako. Tapos na. Ayan. So, saan na yung mga friends natin from Perth? Ayan tayo eh. Okay na. Ito na. Uwi na kayo. Tama na yan. Uwi na tayo. Ayaw mag-goodbye eh. Ayaw natin mag-goodbye. Ayan, isa pang tanong. Sino si ano? Sabi ni ako si Drew. Looks like a very legit name. Artistahin ka, prof. You can pass as an actor. I can pass as an actor? Excuse me. I am. No, I'm just kidding. Ang tawag dyan, artistahin pero ayaw mag-artista kasi maarte. That's funny ah. Artistahin pero ayaw mag-artista kasi maarte. Yan! That's nice. I like that. Ayaw ko mag-artista kasi maarte ako. Like, mainit. Ayaw ko mag-taping dyan. Pero action star ang gusto. Okay, ayan tayo. Sabi ni Sherry, balik ka ulit dito. Dyan sa UQ. Naalala ko dun sa UQ, may nakalagay pa sa bus, don't spit because we can trace your DNA through your saliva. Something like that. Na-shock ako dun eh. Don't spit policy dun sa Brisbane, dun sa bus nakita ko. Ayan. Talagang kasalanan ng Starbucks yan na umabot na tayo ng 2 oras na. Hindi na meta yata ang tawag doon, guys. Ibang metaverse na to. Nag-metaverse tayo today, ah. Ano pa ba? Metaverse. And, don't worry. Pag-usapan na mabuti itong issue ng parliamentary and all of that. Ayan. Anya, Donis, ti baryo nyo? Anya, ti... kastoy. Okay. When. Hoy, hindi ako hyper. Chill lang ako. I'm just enjoying this long ride. Iba talaga pag real coffee. Iba talaga eh. Hindi mag 3-in-1 after 30 minutes. Ganyan ka na. Ganyan. Pag real coffee, parang, naku, baka di na ako makatulog mamaya. Tara, mag-gym na tayo. Gym time tayo. Yeah. Uppercut. UFC. Yan. Ayan. Okay. Tama na yan. Ayan. Parang, alam mo yung gusto kong gawin? Hintayin ko hanggang last sign nyo, magla-log out. Walang uwian dito. Hanggang yung last sign na hindi nag-log out, dito pa rin ako. Ano to? Last man standing tayo dito or last woman standing. Walang Try nga natin to anong oras. Magkakaroon tayo ng Guinness Book of Record. Tinanggal na nga si Marcos dun sa Guinness Book, di ba? Yung may record siya. Baka naman tayong magano dyan sa Guinness ngayon. Longest meta in the world. Must be I think it's the sporty thing, no? I think it's just chill here. Okay. Ang tanong naman ni hanggang bukas to. Ano time zone? Hanggang bukas to. Of course. What time zone? Yung sagot. Ayan tayo eh. Delikado to. Hanggang mag-Saturday ang Hawaii. Dito pa rin tayo. Walang uwian. Saan yung Starbucks ko? Ganyan palang totoong Starbucks. Wow, feels good, man. Feels good. Lalong-lalo na kung gift certificate na hindi mo binayaran. Okay yan. I like that. Kasi kung binayaran mo, hindi mo ma-feel guilty pressure yan. Ito yung tinatawag na pure pleasure. Kasi libre. Hoy, Leo, huwag kang ganun yung mga dance move natin dyan. Yeah. Ayaw ko mag-dance moves kasi manglalait na naman kayo. Sir, parang 90s yung moves mo. Walang ya. Bablock kita. Gawa ko ng app na kahit anong account mo, ibablock kita. Basta alam ko yung ano mo, IP address mo. Walang ya. Sino presidente? Tatay Digo. Sino na? Ayan. Ayan tayo. Ayan. Leo, wag kang ganun na. Wag mong akong... Wag nyo. Guys, ayoko magsayaw. Yung ganon. Party. Yung imbita. Guys, ayoko magsayaw. Guys, wag. Wag. Ayoko magsayaw. Wag. Please. Please. Wag. Yan ang mga the best friends, guys. Yung parang ayaw niya talaga magsayaw eh. Talagang the moves siya. The moves. Yung mga Michael Jackson, Billie Jean, ganon. Yan. Pero guys, ayaw ko magsayaw. Please, guys, ayaw ko magsayaw. Yan. Ayan na. Ganon talagang Starbucks moves talaga. Delikado to. I hope I will not regret this tomorrow pag wala na yung effect ng kape ko. Delikado palang totoong kape sa akin. Wow. Ang effect nito sa akin, Turkish kape. Parang nag-Turkiya kape ako eh. Parang nag-espresso tayo eh. Walang ya. Sugar rush. Okay. Kamusta naman dyan si, Guys, ayoko magsayaw. Guys, please. Huwag na akong pilitin. Ayoko magsayaw. Alam mo, Sherwin, block na kita. Galawang tito. Ito talaga. Mamaya na kita patulan, ha. Huwag gano'n naman. Tawag dyan, BTS Plus. Kanta naman dyan, sabi ni Helen. Mauna kayo! Magsayaw. Bookshelf tour naman dyan. Mag-vlogger tayo, guys. Ito yung mga bookshelf ko. I think hindi nyo masyadong nakita itong other side. Para naman iba tayo, guys. Para naman iba. Nakikita nyo dyan. Ang Nietzsche ko. You see there at the top, Jawaharlal Nehru. Yan, this one. This one, Frederick Douglass. This one, ayan, yung nagsulat ng Guns, Germs, and Steel. Ay, parang mas cute ako dito sa angle na to. Tapos, of course, Friedrich Nietzsche. Then, may Hegel, may... marami tayong dyan. Ang dami pa, marami pang books dyan. Tapos may bamboo pa. Yan. Okay, alright. Tapos dito sa kabila, meron din dun. Okay, alright. Okay, mamaya na tayo mag-vlogger style. Hindi ba kayo umuwi? Andyan pa rin kayo? Alam mo kung walang pandemic, feeling ko pwede na tayo comedy bar na tayo. Tapos upo lang ako dyan. Tapos, ang tawag dyan, yung mga parang ampalaya monologues. Anong tawag sa mga taong ganun? Parang, what's the term for that? Yung parang slam poetry, parang ganun. Yung parang slam poetry. Anong version nun? Yung parang nagmo-monologue lang silang nagpatatawanan. Yeah, that's Jared Diamond. The one that's Jared Diamond. Yeah, this is a very good book. It's a very good book. But there's even a better book than that, yung Dawn of Everything. Please basahin niyo yan. Very good book. It's better than everything I've read. Like, no offense to the other great ones. You can imagine, like, I have Steven Pinker here, dito sa Our Better Angels, I have all of them. Harari, everything, Fukuyama, Jared Diamond, that was a really good book. And I think it's like up for it might win this year, the George Orwell Prize. So, that would be nice. Nice to see social scientists also winning those kinds of awards. I'm very proud of them. Alright, okay. Pero na tayo magpahinga. Pagod na rin pala ako. Nag-wear off na yung nung kape ko. Alright. Inang calories ang nawala sa akin. The Dawn of Everything. Ito, pakita ko sa inyo, guys. Napakagandang libro yan. Medyo 1,000 pages-ish, but you learn a lot. It questions a lot for basic assumptions. Ito, this one. It's a brilliant book. I love it. And then the other one I want to read is, Born in Blackness. It's also a very good book. On the beginning of, ito yung book. Ay, sorry. Lumalabas mo. Ay. Ito. Ay. Paano ba? Wala na, Zaddy na. Ito. This one. Dawn of Everything. Ganun yung itsura. Yellow yung cover. A New History of Humanity. So, prehistory ito. By David Graeber and David Wengrow. Napakahusay. I think they're LSE and King's College yata. Yeah. So, God bless them. I mean, they really did great stuff. That book helped me a lot. Yung mga nagtatanong, may pag-asa pang Pilipinas, I'll say, in 12,000 BC, this was our situation. And today, this is our situation. I think we have made a lot of improvements. If you have a broad understanding of history, you will be very happy with a lot of things we have today, right? You'll be very proud of it. At the same time, there were also a lot of good things in the past that we can have it again if we have a sense of imagination and history. So yeah, that's why I like reading yung mga grand historical, trans-historical books because it gives you perspective. And in life, perspective is everything. It's joy, great gratitude, it's money, it's everything, right? If you have perspective, you can do a lot, right? Ayan na, yung si Gwen kagising lang ngayon lang nandito. Oh, sabi naman ni Christopher, anong version naman ng Art of War? Yung classic lang. Yung version na binabasa ng mga CEOs. Pero hindi ako masyadong hindi, ito on war to. Klaus Fitz yan, hindi yan Art of War ka nandito. May Art of War din by the way si Machiavelli. Basahin niyo rin yan, maganda yan. Hindi masyadong benta yung mga ganun. Mas benta sa akin yung mga ganun. Yung mga Russian, ito, yung mga ganun. Ay. Yung mga ganyan. Yan, mga ganun na books. Mga Russian novels. Mga 1,000 pages each. Mga ganun lang. Alright? Okay. Dun sa mga tumagal sa atin, magto 2 hours na tayo. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate your support, your star, your comments, everything. So, we're experimenting talaga today. Sobrang different talagang style natin today. Talagang coffee session tayo today. Ito talaga yung matagalan na usapan, marathon style. And we were able to cover a lot. And believe me, I'm learning a lot kasi dialogical tayo. I can see your responses. I see. And I'm checking your comments here. Hindi ko makikita dito. I don't know why. Kaya sorry na kung nakaganyan ako. Hopefully kung may budget tayo in the future, there'll be a big screen here. I can do stuff like that. But wala. Ngayon, small time lang tayo ngayon. Wala. Napunta yung pera ko sa mga ganito eh. Tuloy. Di na ng sports car. Ayun na naman tayo. Alright? Okay. Congratulations sa mga supporters ng GSW. Akala ko, ano yun? Yung good manners class ba yan? Sino yung mga nangasar na naman tayo? Yung mga GMRC. Yung pala, golden, okay, sorry. Akala ko GMRC. Okay. So, congrats dun sa mga Celtics followers. Alam ko si Senator Angara, Celtics yan. Kaya, sorry man. Okay. Pero next time. Ilang games pa? Di ba? Best of 7? Best of 5? Ano ba nangyari dyan? Tambak ba? Hindi ko na-check. Sorry, I'm really into football. I mean, like, super 100%. Like, and UFC. Like, my 2, favorite. So, in the future, guys, don't be surprised if I join you live from boxing gym and MMA and all. Pauwis version and all, right? But I think in this era, okay, now let me get serious, okay, before we end this. You see, today was a little bit medyo nasenti ako today because it's not what you think. I overheard some neighbor and all saying they want to lease their place because they're migrating. And then nagtanong ako dun sa admin people like, oh, marami ba nagmamigrate? And sabi na, yes sir, ang dami nagmamigrate. Tapos kanina, dun sa barbero, kaya medyo malis tayo. Boss Ross, thank you very much by the way. Yeah, we're talking about how many people are migrating. They're leaving the country. And you know why. So, medyo nakakalungkot yung ganon. Kaya sabi ko, ang trabaho natin dito is to give people a perspective na as bad and hopeless as things may look, meron pa rin tayong Hey Darian Metaverse. Okay? Meron pa rin tayong mga pwedeng pag-usapan. May magagandang pwedeng mangyari. And sana, please, don't give up. Don't give up on us. Don't give up on our country, etc. Sige, magbakasyon kayo abroad, no problem. Go and refresh, etc. Ako, hindi pa nga nagbakasyon dito pa rin ako. But just, mahal natin ang bayan natin. Ito talagang bahay natin. Abroad, we're gonna be just another immigrant, whatever. But this is really our country. I mean, no offense dun sa mga nasa abroad. God bless you. I have no I'm thinking. I'm just telling you, like, just because you're frustrated with politics, please, wag, Or, ewan ko. I mean, who am I to tell you anything, right? I'm just saying, nakakalungkot lang when I was hearing that and all. Alright, okay. Sige, nagdrama na tayo. 1 hour and 45 minutes. Okay, wala na. Wala na. Hindi na to metaverse na to. First ever metaverse. Alam mo, kasalanan ko kasi nagtanong ako ng anong mga tanong nyo sa akin. Tuloy naging 2 hours na yung usapan natin. Because of that, tomorrow 5 minutes lang tayo mag-meta, ha? Micro-meta. Today naging metaverse. Tomorrow mag-micro-meta tayo. wag barako, baka di na tayo matulog niyan, pare. Wag, dude, pare, tol. Wag ganon. Alright? Okay, salamat, guys. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much, senyor, senyoras. I really appreciate it. Whatever team you are, unit team, disunit team, kakamping, ISCO, whatever, GMRC, whatever you are. Thank you so much for watching us, for supporting us. Just you guys tuning in and staying with us for the past 2 hours. That means a lot to me. That means a lot to me. And I hope in my own little way, I also mean something in your lives. And whether this is for your therapy, this is for your mind, your body, your soul. Body, I don't know. Pero mind and soul and all, then so be it. Alright? Okay? Maraming salamat. That sounded weird. Okay. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Adios.